I bet you didn't know how deep the rabbit hole goes. The year was 2016. The world watched in astonishment as an unprecedented leak sent shockwaves across the globe. This was no ordinary leak. It wasn't about political scandals or celebrity gossip. This was about money. Vast sums of money hidden away in a shadowy financial underworld. This was the Panama Papers, millions of documents, leaked from a seemingly impenetrable law firm. Mossack Fonseca, a Panama-based firm specialized in one thing: secrecy. For decades, they had helped the world's elite shield their wealth, exploiting legal loopholes and operating in the shadows. But the shadows were about to be illuminated. The Panama Papers exposed a vast network of offshore tax havens, shell companies, and secret accounts. Names surfaced: politicians, celebrities, business tycoons, all implicated in a system designed to keep wealth hidden and taxes unpaid. This was not just about the wealthy elite protecting their assets. This was about the erosion of trust, fairness, and the rule of law. The world was watching, and the world would never be the same. The Panama Papers emerged from a whisper, a digital breadcrumb left on the servers of Mossack Fonseca. An anonymous source, known only as John Doe, contacted German journalist Bastian Obermeier. The message was simple: "I have information. Interested?" Obermeier, a reporter for the German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung, had a reputation for tenacious investigative journalism. He, along with his colleague Friedrich Obermeier, recognized the potential explosiveness of the source's offer. This was information that could shake the foundations of the financial world. Given the sheer volume of data, 2.6 terabytes of information, the journalists realized they needed help. They turned to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, or ICIJ. The ICIJ, a global network of investigative reporters known for their collaborative approach, assembled a team of over 400 journalists from over 80 countries. For over a year, the team worked in secrecy. They analyzed documents, cross-referenced names, and followed the intricate money trails. The Panama Papers were a complex puzzle, and the journalists were determined to put the pieces together. At the heart of the Panama Papers lay the murky world of offshore finance. To understand the scandal, one must first understand the mechanisms at play. Offshore tax havens are jurisdictions with low or zero tax rates, offering secrecy and anonymity to foreign investors. Shell companies, often little more than names on paper, are created in these havens to obscure the true ownership of assets. These companies can hold bank accounts, real estate, yachts, and even private jets, all while keeping the identities of the real owners hidden. Secrecy jurisdictions like Panama thrive on confidentiality laws that shield financial information from foreign authorities. This creates an environment where illicit activities such as tax evasion and money laundering can flourish. The Panama Papers exposed the mechanics of this shadowy financial universe. They revealed how easily the wealthy could exploit these systems, legally minimizing their tax burdens while depriving their home countries of much-needed revenue. The Panama Papers ignited a global debate about tax avoidance, tax evasion, and the ethical responsibilities of the wealthy. While not all offshore activities are illegal, the line between legal tax avoidance and illegal tax evasion can be blurry. Tax avoidance involves using legal loopholes to minimize tax liability, while legal, it raises ethical concerns about fairness and social responsibility. Tax evasion, on the other hand, is the illegal act of not paying taxes owed. The Panama Papers revealed that many individuals and corporations were using offshore structures to evade taxes, hiding income and assets from their home countries. This raised questions about the role of governments, financial institutions, and individuals in perpetuating a system that allowed such practices to flourish. The scandal sparked outrage among the public, who saw it as a symbol of growing inequality and a system rigged in favor of the wealthy and powerful. Section 5. Power players exposed, from world leaders to celebrities. The Panama Papers did not discriminate. The leaked documents implicated individuals and companies from across the globe, spanning diverse industries and backgrounds. The revelations sent shockwaves through the corridors of power, exposing the financial dealings of politicians, celebrities and business tycoons. World leaders, including the then Prime Minister of Iceland, Sigmundur David Gunnlaugsson, faced public scrutiny and calls for their resignation. The leak revealed that Gunnlaugsson had ties to an offshore company with holdings in Icelandic banks, creating a conflict of interest. Celebrities like Jackie Chan and Lionel Messi were also named in the Panama Papers, raising questions about their financial dealings and potential tax avoidance schemes. The revelations tarnished reputations and led to calls for greater transparency and accountability. The Panama Papers demonstrated that the allure of secrecy and tax optimization transcended borders and industries. It exposed a system that benefited the privileged few at the expense of the many. Section 6. The Aftershocks, Resignations, Investigations and Public Outrage. The immediate aftermath of the Panama Papers leak was one of chaos and upheaval. Governments around the world scrambled to respond to the revelations, launching investigations and promising swift action. The political fallout was immediate and dramatic. Gunnlaugsson, facing mounting pressure from the Icelandic public, resigned from office. This marked the first time a sitting world leader had stepped down as a direct result of the Panama Papers. Other high-profile figures implicated in the leak also faced consequences. Spain's industry minister resigned, Pakistan's prime minister faced a corruption inquiry, and Ukraine's president was embroiled in a scandal that ultimately led to his ouster. The public outrage was palpable. Protests erupted in cities around the world, with people demanding an end to tax haven secrecy and greater financial transparency. The Panama Papers had struck a chord, exposing a system that many viewed as inherently unfair and unjust. Section 7. Justice served? The global fightback and legal ramifications. The Panama Papers triggered a global wave of legal actions and reforms. Governments, spurred by public pressure and the need to restore faith in their financial systems, began cracking down on tax evasion and offshore secrecy. Tax authorities in numerous countries launched investigations into individuals and companies named in the leak. Billions of dollars in unpaid taxes were recovered and numerous prosecutions were initiated. The message was clear: tax evasion would no longer be tolerated. The scandal also spurred international cooperation on tax matters. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, a global forum for economic policy, strengthened its efforts to combat tax avoidance and improve financial transparency. New regulations were implemented to prevent the abuse of offshore structures. Countries agreed to share information about taxpayers and their financial holdings, making it more difficult to hide assets offshore. Section 8. Transparency under the microscope. A call for global reform. The Panama Papers exposed the systemic weaknesses in the global financial system. They highlighted the urgent need for greater transparency, accountability, and international cooperation in the fight against financial crime. The revelations sparked a global debate about the role of tax havens and the need for greater regulation of the offshore financial industry. Critics argued that tax havens facilitated tax evasion, money laundering and other illicit activities, depriving governments of much-needed revenue and undermining the rule of law. Advocates for financial transparency called for greater disclosure of beneficial ownership information, making it more difficult to hide behind shell companies and anonymous trusts. They argued that sunlight was the best disinfectant, and that greater transparency would deter illicit activities and level the playing field for all. The Panama Papers served as a wake-up call, prompting governments, international organizations and civil society to work together to create a fairer and more transparent financial system. Section 9. The Panama Papers legacy. A turning point in financial history? The Panama Papers were more than just a leak. They were a watershed moment in the fight against financial secrecy and tax injustice. The revelations sent shockwaves through the global financial system, exposing its vulnerabilities and triggering a wave of reforms and legal actions. The legacy of the Panama Papers is still being written. While significant progress has been made in combating tax evasion and increasing financial transparency, the fight is far from over. Tax havens still exist, and the allure of secrecy remains strong. New and innovative methods of tax avoidance are constantly being developed, requiring ongoing vigilance and adaptation from governments and regulators. The Panama Papers serve as a reminder that the pursuit of financial transparency and accountability is an ongoing process, requiring constant vigilance and a commitment to fairness and the rule of law. Section 10. The Future of Secrecy. Lessons learned and the fight ahead. The Panama Papers remind us that secrecy cloaks illicit activities. We must learn from the past and fight for a transparent financial system. Governments must combat tax evasion and close loopholes. International cooperation is essential to prevent money laundering. Financial institutions must be accountable for illicit flows. They must report suspicious activities. Civil society must hold the powerful accountable. Journalists and NGOs expose wrongdoing and advocate for change. The fight for financial transparency is a marathon. The battle against financial secrecy and tax injustice continues. Together, we can ensure fair taxation and accountability. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more updates. Join us in the fight for financial transparency.